Hey guys, it's Measley again, and in today's guide, I'm going to be talking about what items and achievements are going to become much more difficult to obtain after the end of Legion, and what you can do now in order to get them. First, we have a few mounts tied to raid bosses that will become much more difficult to get after the end of Legion, assuming you won't be able to solo these bosses in Battle for Azeroth just yet. So the first mount is the Hellfire Infernal, which drops from Mythic Gul'dan. It is currently a guaranteed drop, but it will definitely not be anymore after the release of Battle for Azeroth. If you won't be able to reliably form your own group, you might consider paying for a carry instead. Next, we have another awesome mount, the Shackled Urzul, dropped by Mythic Argus, and since he's much more difficult than Mythic Gul'dan is, carries for this mount do exist, but they're few and far in between and will be very expensive. And while we're on the topic of Argus, there's the much easier to get mount, the Violet Spellwing, which comes from a quest for killing Heroic Argus. It's significantly cheaper and much more common to find a carry for Heroic Argus. And also note that this mount will no longer be obtainable after Battle for Azeroth comes out, unlike the other two mounts that I mentioned, which will instead have their drop rates nerfed. Now, let's not forget the other mount that drops in Antorus, and that is the Antoran Charhound. Though its drop rate is already pretty low, some people have found success by spamming LFR, normal, and even heroic Antorus, and I suggest farming for this mount now while you can still do LFR, as in Battle for Azeroth, it'll be unlikely that we'll be able to solo this encounter, even if the drop rate doesn't get nerfed. Next up, though not being removed in Battle for Azeroth, the Balance of Power questline will also become significantly harder to do after Battle for Azeroth comes out, as a lot of the questline involves doing raids and mythic dungeons, both of which I don't think will be easy to solo come BFA. So my suggestion is to check all of your characters to see if there are any skins that you want to unlock, then get to work on their respective questlines. Also within the list of collectible items that involve Legion raids and mythic dungeons are the Falcosaur mounts. To get started, you'll have to pick up the hatchling from the respective Falcosaur invasions, then progress through a long string of daily quests to ultimately unlock your Falcosaur mounts. Again, some of these quests will involve mythic dungeons or raids. So again, I suggest doing this now while people are still doing Legion dungeons and raids, and while you can still use the LFD and LFR tools. Yet another thing you should check up on are Legion profession quests, because to unlock some of the recipes, you'll also have to do some Legion raids or dungeons. At number 5, we have Mythic plus 15 Artifact Skin Tints. This is also one of the things that won't be obtainable upon the release of BFA. But fortunately, with the gear levels of today's raiders and dungeoneers, plus 15 shouldn't be too difficult to achieve, especially when compared to Legion's earlier patches. At number 6, we have the Mage Tower Challenge Artifact Appearances. I know that this has been mentioned probably a billion times by other people already, but it's still very relevant to this video. If I were to provide some tips, after gearing up through Antorus and the current levels of Mythic Plus, the Mage Tower challenges shouldn't be that difficult. Just always remember to pick the right talent spec going in and not be too proud to look at guides. Most people have found survival boosting legendaries such as Prydas to be the most helpful. Finally, at number 7, we have the Brawlers Guild. If we go by past trends, the Brawlers Guild has traditionally come in seasons, with each season having its unique rewards. In the previous season, the mount reward was the Mushan Beast, and in this season, it's the Basilisk. So in case a new Brawlers Guild season rolls out in Battle for Azeroth, it'd be wise to pick up this mount while you can. And that was 7. Actually more than 7 if you count all the mounts, things you should do before the end of Legion. I hope you guys found the guide helpful, and if you did, make sure to subscribe and punch that notification bell, so you'll be able to see my cutting edge guides as soon as they're released. And this is Measley, signing out.